up, folks? Sean, the average angler, sitting here homesick. I took the test today. I got the COVID. This is what it is. I got a doctor's appointment tonight. Not really feeling better. It's kind of up and down. I shouldn't say not feeling better. It's up and down. I have my moments where I feel better and moments where it seems to regress. Sitting at home, being sick, you get lots to think about. So I came up with an interesting topic today that I'd like all of you to sit back and think about. And that is, why am I not improving as a fisherman? And maybe you are. I ran into this many years ago. Part of it was spurred on by something somebody said in a weigh-in state, on the weigh-in stage. I took what he said to heart and decided I was going to put all my efforts at Clear Lake into locating these certain types of spots. Man, it paid off. It paid off big time. To a point. I really had some very good years on Clear Lake, and I continue to have some good years on Clear Lake. I continue to learn. The number one thing that I see keeping us from becoming better anglers is not fishing with an open mind. Going out and fishing with preconceived notions, fishing with the same baits that we've always fished with, or maybe just using those same baits in the same way, doesn't mean that there aren't other ways to fish them that might be more effective. Now, what I learned about Clear Lake, water level changes the entire ecosystem of the lake. In low water years, the jig bite, swim jig, all that stuff is far superior than a lot of other techniques. Now, in the high water years, man, things have really changed. You know, the hits come back, the hits have showed up in full force, and it's kind of like, man, we thought the hits were like, the population was in trouble. Anything but. Shad, same thing. So water levels change the lake completely. The way they need to be fished, the way they need to be approached, baits that the fish favor. It's been much heavier the last couple years with high water on many reaction baits, but swim baits. Swim baits have returned big time, right? The fish are gonna follow the food source. Now, if those shad, hitch are up shallow, the bass are gonna go with them. So it changed the approach. Now, this is all stuff I've learned over the last couple of years, that what I had found in those low water years wasn't working the same as it was prior, nor were the areas working the same as years prior. And I thought that, well, they'll still be in that area, they'll just move up to that depth. And to a point, that's true, but it's not set in stone. There's some places I haven't been bid on that were every cast spots when the water was low. So reason number one why you're not improving as an angler, a closed mind. We need to step back and open the mind and realize that we're trying to catch these fish that have a mind of their own, and we need to give them what they want, not what we want. So oftentimes this is going to mean that we have to change our approach, right? Change the baits we're throwing. We need to take a look at what we're doing, how the fish are positioned, what the fish are doing. Are they active? Are they moving fast? Are they just holding? And we need to try and offer them a presentation that best suits their environment, not ours. So this goes for if you're fishing from the bank, if you're fishing from the boat, if you're fishing from a kayak, it really doesn't matter. Water temperatures, water levels, all that stuff can really affect it at every lake around. Right now, because the rising waters in California, those crawdads are on the move, man. They had to come out of their burrows and run up the bank because they're getting buried down there. Places like Shasta and Orville, where the water comes up quick, those crawdads will be way deeper than they want to be if they're not careful. So they come out, they move up the bank. The jig bite picks up, right? The swim bait bite picks up when you've got bigger bait fish for those fish to eat. Now, it could be trout, could be shad, could be hitch, Really could be any kind of bait fish. Anything that's swimming in the water, bass is a predator and will try to eat. So wherever you're at, your body of water could be different, but it's the same, right? Could be bluegill, could be smaller crappie, lots of things for the bass to eat. So figuring out what they're foraging on is number one, right? And sometimes we just need to look around us, and sometimes there won't be any clues, right? Sometimes you may not see. If you're walking a bank, you may not see anything. What about birds? You see any birds? Where are the birds at? They out in the middle, they near the bank, they up the lake, they down the lake. Which way is the wind blowing? Is there activity on wind blowing stuff or on the opposite? Jerk baits, crankbaits, spinner baits, all tools that can be used for locating. Nowadays with glide baits, there's so many different ones, and quite honestly, that new Buka is a pretty decent one. The ABS, I think they're about 30 bucks, 30, 40 bucks, something like that. Little 6-inch, they're pretty, I mean, they look small. They don't, but they do, if you know what I mean, okay? 1 pounder will try to eat that bait. With high water, what I have learned, bait tends to come up. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button down below. It's free. Clear Lake is going to be a little bit of an outlier just because of the fact that Clear Lake doesn't fluctuate a whole lot. We're talking, say, up to 10 foot at the most, realistically, most years. Probably less than that, 7 to 8 foot. But on other lakes, Orville, I don't know that there's much of a shad population. They have the other critter there that tends to stay deeper. Remember in the fall when the bait tended to move towards the backs of creeks and moving water? They're still doing that. They still are going to go to those areas, right? It's a natural place for them to be. Now, when the water gets muddy, they're probably gonna pull out some to where that water color changes or at the thermocline edge. If none of you have done that before, it's something you need to learn, that when you run up a creek with moving water, you will see a drastic temperature change. At some point, maybe you get far enough up there to see it, maybe you don't. But typically what ends up happening is that's where you'll start seeing a bunch of debris on the surface of the water. It's a good place to start fishing and then work your way out. Reason number 2, we're not becoming better anglers because we're not observing and paying attention. Those types of things like the thermocline, and we're talking drastic surface temperature, folks. It can change several degrees in a 100-yard stretch, and it's the oddest thing, but the debris will give it up, okay, where that big change is. The debris will start being stacked up. You'll see more and more of it. So be observant of the things around you. Number 3, we're not fishing anywhere new. It's important to go fish new bodies of water. Reason being is you start to learn how to break down bodies of water. Now, when you learn how to break things down, then what you thought should have worked on your body of water isn't. You're more capable of going out and trying some different things and figuring it out. Pretty simple, right? Oftentimes when we're on the water, it's hard to remember some of these things. Well, right now, it's hard to remember all kinds of things. Number 4, fish with different people. Whether you sign up for a pro-am as a co-angler or you get on a message board for a fishing forum or Facebook or however you might do it, fish with new people. Look at their approach. Look at the baits they throw, because oftentimes what we find out is that the bait we had no confidence in, the other guy's whacking them on it. That's why I always speak of confidence. Confidence is very important in fishing. But get out and fish with some different people. You will learn different approaches. You'll see different views, and you can learn something. And sometimes it's what not to do. But pretty much everybody out there has something we can learn, right? I think I can learn something from just about everybody I've ever fished with. And I have. Some people more than others. That's one of the best ways to learn. And it really helps get us out of that stagnant environment. Being a co-angler is probably one of the best ways to learn. But what I do encourage, especially if you're in California, I think one of the best ways to learn and one of the funnest that I've ever done, and I've continued to do it for years, is the One Bass Opens. Okay, it's a shared weight. You get to fish 3 days. You can fish as a pro, you can fish as a co. I've done both. The last few years I've fished as a co-angler, mostly because I didn't want the responsibility. Now I still take my boat up there and I still go practice. Still go try to find fish. But to me at this point in my life right now, it's more important to me to get to spend the week with friends and just have a good time. It's a great way to learn. I've learned tons from every angler I've fished with. Even when we didn't have a good day, sometimes just somebody's commitment to something, you can learn something from. Give it a thought. Let me know what you think down below. I'm Sean, the Average Angler. Let's become better anglers this year. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.